Good afternoon, Stefan. How are you today?
I'm good, Patty. How are you?
I am great. So we appreciate you coming on and giving some background information on DocuWare and how you implemented it at Mico Cooling. But before we kind of get into that conversation, why don't you give us a little information of the history, some of the achievements and the operations of your organization?
Sure. Yeah, so we are a family-owned business. Parents started this in the basement of their house in 1983. We've all the families here, my sister, uncle, we have spouses work here. We're real true family-owned business. Um, we are a commercial air conditioning, heating, cook line, refrigeration company, 40 years experience, and yeah, we just women owned, proud women owned business. And I don't
That's
know, just
great.
we've been here for so long.
So I know we have a little history, you and I, but what were some of the biggest challenges you faced with document management before partnering with Atlantic? And please share the time frame if you want.
Yeah, I mean, God, I mean, I've been with Mico for 25 years and we've been partnering with Atlantic as long as I've been here, from the copier hardware part. And
Mhm.
yeah, Bob, all those years said, I think you guys need to look at DocuWare. You really should do it. And I was like, no, no, but we saw the presentation, I think, back in the day, and it just didn't fit our needs at the time. And yeah, I mean, honestly, our biggest problem was always paper. I mean, our biggest contracts are Department of Corrections, New York City Board of Education, and they are still so old school that we had to write paper tickets. All of our guys are out there writing paper tickets,
Mhm.
getting signatures, leaving the copy behind. That's what they wanted. So we just had to keep going with that. And we really struggled for a long time. They would write the paper tickets. I used to have a driver go around and collect them from all of the guys because our technicians never came to the office. They were out in the field. They take the trucks home. Our offices were up in Rockland County. We didn't see them that often. So I had a guy running around picking up paper tickets, bringing them to the office. Then we would sort them. We would, put them into their different, contracts and technicians, complete jobs, incomplete jobs. And then we just kept processing all of them. They would sit and wait, and then we would create our invoice that goes along with it. We'd have to print that out, put that in the pile. I mean, paper was just an absolute nightmare. We
I,
just,
I, I remember years ago you mentioned that you developed a system actually using Dropbox.
yeah.
And, that was part of a filing system that, helped. But I guess you outgrew that rather quickly,
Well,
especially
it's
during.
still part of it. It made it better and then also worse. So again, this is where I was laughing. I mean, I was just going back and thinking about what we used to do. So now the guys are writing the paper tickets and they're scanning them into Dropbox. Great. We have them immediately. I don't need the driver anymore. But now we have them on our computers. Guess what we did? We printed them out. And now we put them into those piles again. So then they sat there. And then, because there was no easy way for me to digitally file them myself, I couldn't make that work. So I'd have printed copies again. So now I have digital copies in Dropbox. I have digital copies of the invoices coming out of my system that all were printed and then put back in a packet and scanned on Atlantic's wonderful machine that we would go back and scan them in so that we could upload them and send them electronically to our customers. And it was brutal.
A bear. So
Yeah.
tell us what happened in 2020, March to be exact.
Yeah. So COVID hits, we go remote and we still have the same process. And now we're scrambling. Okay, so how do we make this happen? Luckily, again, Dropbox is, on anyone's computer and they're getting the files. But I have Eileen, who lives in Jersey. I have Suzanne, who's part of the process, who lives in New York. I have some people that live upstate, and they're all part of this paper process. And we just are doing what we always did. But now, on top of that, they're driving to meet each other once a week so that we can put these paper copies together and
That
get them
is
where they
so
need to
funny.
be. And then just, I mean, the amount of
It's like a pass off in the parking lot. I
it
remember you
was.
telling
It was
that.
actually nice. They said, you know what, they got to see each other because COVID, we kind of haven't been able to be in person for a
Right.
while. So that was nice. But man, it was challenging and very redundant.
Yeah. And what about the accounts payable process? Did that become more challenging as you were
I
getting into a paperless model,
I
or how?
wasn't involved. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't involved in it and that side of it, but I knew the process and I knew that our vendors started again emailing or having a portal where we go and download. So they're giving us digital copies. And once again, and it's funny, we used to do this and we always had different color papers for different things. So our office, we would print all the AP invoices on purple paper and they would sit in stacks and piles, and then we would just process them as we need. And again, just
Yeah.
a terrible way to
And
manage your time.
and I'm sure you guys were spending a lot of time searching and filing for those documents. Do you have an idea of what that amounted to?
Oh yeah, we would. Oh, if we wanted to get access to something that we had, I
Yeah.
mean, there was no way to find it easily. No, that wasn't great. But I think we started looking, I mean, as this became really cumbersome, we started looking into we might have to hire somebody to help us do this because we were growing the business a little bit. Our government work, we actually branched out into the private world. So it's getting more and more. And we said, we're drowning in this paper. So let's see about hiring someone because we found that 10 hours for one person, 10 hours a week, she would spend on this printing and sorting and driving to meet people and all that. And we estimated the same thing on the AP side. Somebody would monitor the email, download the attachment, print it, 10 hours a week on both sides.
Um,
So we said we're gonna have to hire someone.
how long did it take you in the past to send out bills?
So our Department of Education contract, we have to only bill once a week to them. So we work Monday to Friday, and then we have to batch anything we did in that week and send it out. And with everything that we were doing, it was close to 5 weeks behind that it would take us
Wow.
to process everything. And it it was getting worse and worse, honestly. There was just more and more. It was slowing down and getting even worse. And that's
So
why we're
that has a
possibly
big
hiring someone. 5 weeks we
that,
were behind on our billing.
so that is a big effect on, I'm sure, cash flow when your
Yeah,
billing takes over a month to bill out. So when
absolutely.
you implemented DocuWare, what does that look like today?
5 days.
There you go.
It
Just
was
paid
it
for
was the
itself.
biggest eye opener. I mean, when we sat and we were talking about it, and I knew that this was going to be the game changer in that. That's why we went for document. That particular contract is what drove it.
Mhm.
And I just knew based on, Jonathan and Ro, everyone like, okay, this is what we're going to design. And we went through how it's going to work step by step. And we knew that it was going to, in our minds, we all visioned like we're going to get down to 5 days, 6 days tops. And
That's
that's exactly what
wonderful.
happened. It really hit the mark, and that's exactly what happened.
And I think it's easy to get there when you know as a client what it is exactly you're looking to accomplish. When
Yeah,
somebody like you is so clear about what they're looking to accomplish, I know on my team that, they are, the Ferraris in the industry, that they can get it done. And if they can't get it done, they'll let you know that as well. So
yeah,
they're very clear on that.
yeah. I
Um,
wanted to say too, like it wasn't even document man. I know that it was it's branded for that, and I just remembered after our first meeting, just knowing like that's not what DocuWare is. It's not just management. Like this wasn't a need for us to say I need to be able to like search for a file. It's there,
right.
but we needed this workflow. We needed a chain of events and have everybody involved in it to just get our paperwork done.
So
And
what kind of specific features on that note and capabilities were most appealing to you?
yeah, I mean, it was the secondary part of it, but I'll just because it was the easiest one on the AP side, the fact that it monitors our email inbox and downloads the attachments and then reads them and gives us all the pertinent information. I mean, it took us, we do that every day. And again, we were weeks behind on entering invoices and that affects our billing also. That
I'm
went
sure
down.
that entering the invoices has really been, you know, a whole game changer for you using some of the features of DocuWare, which is the intelligent indexing, and
Yeah.
how has that helped
Yeah.
with,
On,
and
on
reducing the data entry and the typing and all that.
Absolutely. I mean, and then it eliminated errors. We're just highlighting and it copies for you and you paste right in as we enter. So there's no more miskeying a number or an invoice number or an amount. It gives you all, we're set up with, it shows us the information we need when we're doing that task. It filters out all the things that are really not necessary. It
So
gives
if
you
it
what you
really
need when you need it. Yeah.
right, so you knew the workflow, the to-do list, and really as a manager, and one of the owners of the company, how has that feature helped on seeing where every document is in the whole workflow?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, and everybody does, and what I really love about it is like one person doesn't see their task until the person before them did theirs, and that makes their job easier just by
Yeah.
its nature of like, okay, the person before checked theirs, did their work, it's fine. They don't have this huge to-do list of things that, oh, I can't work on this one now, I can't work on that one. They're only getting what they can work on, and then it processes through. If somebody's out sick or on vacation, somebody else can do it, and then you pick up right where you left off. I mean, it's just the
No delays on out of office emails,
no,
right?
no, absolutely. That was
So
the AP, and on the billing side, it's the
yeah.
same thing. I mean, we have it's a I don't know. If in my world, I feel like it's complicated, not complicated, but I feel like it was designed very well, and Jonathan did an amazing job of just listening to like what I needed and what information I had to capture, so that it can be done in just a really seamless way, and then just puts everybody on their path with it. Everyone starts their day working in DocuWare, and they go through their checklist, they empty their, I call them buckets. It's not a bucket, it's a list.
Yeah. Same
But
thing.
we they do what they have to do, and then everything just flows through. And there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes too that I really enjoyed seeing and watching how DocuWare works. I learned a lot, and yeah,
Well, it's interesting because I remember when we were initially talking and when I was listening to the process, what you said earlier with the printing and the scanning and then reprinting and then stapling. And one of the interesting parts that I remember I think it was the Board of Ed, that you had to put together documents from many different areas and kind of staple them together and upload them into one portal. And that was such a time consuming task. How has that helped using DocuWare? Has it the
so
time reduced?
yeah, so part of that 10 hours I was talking about where that person was doing that, four of that was just sitting at a scanner and just scanning in those packets. Because what I call a packet is our invoice, which is a summary of our work and our
Hmm.
pricing. But then
Yeah,
they require all of those paper tickets that my guy's writing with all the detail behind them.
right,
And again, we had to like take them, match them up, put them together, and then we'd scan them into one PDF because they want one PDF per job.
right.
It's all done in the
That-
background. I mean, again, the way it works is the documents come in, they're identified by the different contracts, which is something that is done that Jonathan set up with stamps for us. And then they go into complete, incomplete. And that's those piles that used to sit on everybody's desk, but now they're just sitting where they need to. And as soon as the job is done and we say to DocuWare, okay, finish this, it just starts gathering up all the relevant documents and putting together one PDF and just putting them in a folder for us and say, here you go.
So I
It's
know you
5 minutes,
mentioned
not 4 hours. It's
I love
incredible.
that. That's even better. So I know you mentioned Jonathan and Ro a couple of times. How was the implementation process? I know after we did our portion, I know Ro had reached out to you to schedule a kickoff meeting with Jonathan, and sometimes those things can be complicated, sometimes not. How did you feel that process was for you, Stefan?
It was seamless. I mean, we came back and the coordination, the meetings, seeing the progress you guys were making on the back end after we saw our demo just got better and better. Bro was on top of that completely. And then Jonathan would come in and he would show us, he would have it all mapped out, literally with, workflows and charts and this is what's going to happen. And I said, oh, wait, I didn't think about this. And then he immediately just said, all right, doing stuff on the fly, coming back to us and doing it, after he did it in the background. Just, yeah.
And sometimes he also, I know, because this is all we do in our department here at Atlantic, is provide best practices, what other people are doing and how they've used it. And sometimes that could be actually very helpful to you.
Oh, 100%. The work order billing side is like so custom to us. I'm not sure I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think you guys said that you had worked on something that was like tackling that particular problem. But on the AP side, again, I'm not so much in that, but we were going through and he would let me talk and he would let me say the things that I need. And then at the end, he'd say, do you think you maybe want this feature, this feature, this feature? And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I want. So yeah, no, he gave us a lot of tweaks that, he's probably seen 100 times that helped us.
And how many people actually are at your company in the office?
We have 8 in the office.
Okay.
We have
And how did you find the training and the onboarding by Atlantic that we provided?
the original plan, I think, was to see a bunch of demos and um, everybody got to see that. And it was a small section. But then I really wanted to, it's just the way that my staff is. I consider myself a technical person. I really like the training part of it. I wanted to take that for myself and then show the people. But honestly, the way it was designed made it so simple that even just seeing the examples that were given to us in the demo, when it came time to do it, they were like, yeah, I remember that. It's just click, click, click. It wasn't much that they needed, but I really took it on because there's things that I needed to know as the administrator, and Jonathan showed me everything. I probably had too many sessions with Jonathan that,
You never have enough sessions,
yeah.
honestly.
But yeah,
Um,
no, I enjoyed that myself just to see how it works. And then I was able to, troubleshoot some things as we went forward. I know we have the ability to call whenever we need, but after
yeah,
after the first month or so, I'm not sure we'd have to call. It just works.
that's great. I mean, basically, overall, it sounds like this system has been a tremendous benefit, and I appreciate the things that you highlighted. I mean, besides that, do you think it would have been a benefit to get the system any sooner than you did based on the times
Oh,
frame?
1000%. I kick myself for not, doing that 10 years ago when
When
you
I
came
met you.
in. We were in the office and in my
Right. I
mind it was more
remember
like
seeing that office.
it was going to be tied into the machines that we have and we could have done things better.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
everyone was still together in the office, it was something we handled. It wasn't the best way of doing it, but it was
Hmm.
not it was handing paper to each other. It was not a problem, but it was it was something we probably should have done a long time ago.
Well, thank you. So kind of in closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about how it's continuing to benefit or leveraging it into other areas or
Yeah, I really want to. I started designing my own thing for parking tickets, which is something we struggle. I mean, we work in the mostly Manhattan, and our
yeah.
parking situation is out of control. So just knowing what I knew, I started designing a little something, and I haven't implemented it yet, but I think it works. So like, I'm curious to see where I'm going to expand our, and that was great too because they said we started for a specific reason, but now that we have it, it just becomes more cost effective the more times we use it. And I'm looking every day to see how we can start using it more.
And you can always leverage other areas of the software with a quick call to Jonathan to see if that can be of any further assistance to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Um,
and,
no, I thought you were saying something.
no, I'm good, I'm good. Mhm.
Yeah, I just, again, I think I had told you this story before. So when we were doing the demos and stuff, I was looking to see what else is out there besides DocuWare. And I got a demo from another company, and the software they were pitching it wasn't even close to what we needed. But he happened to say to me, he's like, "Oh, I have this software called DocuWare. Would you like to see it?" And I was like, "Okay, sure."
Mhm.
Just let it, I didn't want to see what it was. And it is. It's not what you have, it's how you design it. And what they were doing didn't have it had a lot of shortcomings. All the stuff in the background that Jonathan built and the extra little plugins that we have was the key part to a lot of what we're doing, and they didn't know how to do it. And again, it's not just DocuWare, it's what you guys did with it. And it was very evident when I saw that between the two demos. It was, I think, a real testament to your team. You have great people.
Thank you for saying that. I think so myself.
Yeah.
And you know what? I always say that it's not anybody can buy a software, whether it's the software we provide or another software. It's the support and the commitment to partner with you to make sure it's executed and and used.
Yeah.
And we try to pride ourselves as a company as being obsessed with customer service. I hope we were able to achieve that with you during this implementation as well.
Absolutely. As soon as I was done, I was talking to my brother-in-law is another customer of yours, Garden State Lumber. And as soon as I was done, I was talking about this thing to anybody that would listen. I was like, "Oh, we're so excited we're doing this." And he started like, "Well, what is it?" And he's asking questions and I sent him over, I'm like, you have to talk to them. And I'm pretty sure he signed up immediately after he saw his demo too. So
Thank you, Stefan, for
yeah,
that recommendation. Yes, we did.
it
And yes,
was,
they
yeah,
are a customer of ours as
yeah,
well.
absolutely.
So, well, again, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.